Hello, everyone. We're doing a silver giveaway for the month of March. I'm going to be giving away another 30 ounces silver of my personal stash for this month. We're going to be choosing the winner at the end of the month. How can you enter? You have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your silver price prediction for the end of March or your favorite type of silver, and a winner will be chosen at random. Last month, someone won 30 ounces of silver, and their silver is shipped to them, and it's on the way. This month, we're going to do another 30 ounces of silver giveaway. So like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for you to enter. Good luck, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Before we begin, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us grow tremendously. Today, we have a good friend of ours, Polny. He is the analyst of time and he studies the markets of time. His YouTube is called Polny and his company is called Gold 2020 Forecast. Welcome, Bo.
Thank you, Ivan. I
Yeah,
appreciate everything you're doing in the precious metal space, and I'm sure everybody really enjoys listening to you. You put a lot of great, podcasts together. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, thank you for coming down. I really appreciate you, coming down to speak to everyone. I wanted to get you down to talk about everything that's happening in the market, silver, gold, everything that's happening in commodities, and of course, what's happening in the Middle East. But before we started recording, we started talking about your charts. So, what do you think is happening right now for silver and gold, where we are right now?
Because last time we did a podcast, and I basically stated something that threw, I think, your viewers for a loop. And I stated very specifically that cycles precede events.
Right.
Okay. And, most people, in the world would perceive that you have an event happen and then you have the candlestick follow, and you have the charts react to the events of the world. Okay,
Right.
so that's what we everybody believes. Everybody believes that the charts, the candlesticks, react to the events of the world, but that's not true. Completely opposite. Okay, when you do cycle work, and again, the reason I'm saying this, Ivan, is because of what the Lord shown me, of what I know, and what I've been saying for years. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee that people you've had on your channel, okay, people all over X, YouTube, have been stating categorically last year in January and February, silver's never gonna break 50. Okay, that was probably the most common thing. It's never ever gone above 50. It's never going to do it, and yet the last 2 months of the year destroyed everybody's forecasts. But what did I say? I said in the year 2025. Again, I don't need glory for this. I'm just trying to illustrate the fact I'm trying to point here is cycles precede events.
Mm-hmm.
Events do not make cycles. Okay. And so why I'm saying this is because I'm going to take it to the next level and let you know it's about to happen. Doesn't matter what anything happens in the world, Iran, anything, none of it matters, because the events of the world, this is going to freak everybody out again. The events of the world are going to fulfill the chart. That's already there. You just don't see it. Now, the chart you don't see, that's called faith. Okay.
Right. Right.
So faith is something of the substance of things unseen. You don't see it, but yet it's going to happen. So why I'm saying this? Because anybody that says silver and gold are in a down cycle are going to go, no, you're going to be 1,000% wrong. Why? Because the cycle's already written, and there's going to be a military conflict or something goes off next week, and it's going to cause silver and gold to leap vertical. And March is going to be the greatest month for precious metals we've ever had. It's going to be awesome. Watch and see.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know the events that are going to trigger it. Okay, just so there's, when you do biblical time calculations, I do time calculations applied to biblical cycles. I don't know the event, but I can tell you a time point. Okay, so there's a time point next week. I'm just telling you right now. Next week, silver takes off, gold takes off. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Doesn't matter events of the world. It's going to happen. We're going to have an awesome March. Awesome. Okay. And what just happened here in February? into early part of March. You know what happened in February?
What?
Called the final sale.
Okay.
Final sale. Okay, so it doesn't matter. This is not my opinion. I'm looking at cycle charts. Those who have my private chart patterns, again, you don't need to buy it. I'm just saying the chart patterns that are already predicated clearly indicate a massive upcycle begins next week and is going to continue in the month of March. Period. Okay. And so again, I know this is going to throw all the mainstream people, all the people you have in your channel, because everybody you typically would put like any interviews you do, I've listened to a couple of them,
Hmm.
and fantastically, you are a great interviewer. It's just like right now, you're sitting, you're listening, I appreciate that. But people are going to always reference, well, because of this military thing, or the Fed's going to say, or right. So, there's always these events of the world that then predicate the chart that will form afterwards,
Right,
but
right.
it's the exact opposite. Okay. Because when you read scripture, it says, Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay.
Hmm.
And understand we are in unprecedented times. Like, you got to admit, the stuff going off in Iran right now. Trump goes and takes up, what he does with Venezuela. You got to admit, these
That's
are
crazy.
yeah, they're unprecedented times. And you figure, right? Let this sink in. Everybody assumed that Monday gold and silver would leap vertical,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we
$150.
thought the same thing too. Yeah.
Those who had my private cycle work had last Friday. Okay, I'm not making this up. If you want to get the subscription, go and get it. But basically, last Friday, I'm going to send it to you, Ivan, just because I
Sure.
want you to see it. So
Sure.
after the podcast, I'll send this to you. But my cycle work specifically had Friday, February 27th as a top for gold, was a
Wow.
turn point. Okay, and then it was gonna die out for this week.
Which it did.
Guess what it did?
Yeah.
Died out for this week.
Do you have any
And guess
charts? Do you have any charts explaining that?
I'm not going to show you the private stuff because that literally gives it's rather incredible accuracy. So I don't want to put that out, but I
Right.
want to share this with you because last time I'm not sure if I showed it on your. I think I might have showed it on your podcast, but I did show this on several podcasts, and I made a huge point of it on my X account.
Yeah,
Okay,
I remember
and
this.
okay, so if you remember this, we were talking. I believe I know gold got slammed, and again, remember the saying: "What's good for gold is phenomenal for silver." Okay,
Hmm.
because silver is gold on steroids. Okay, so I
Right.
know that you like to talk about precious metals. That's your channel, and you like to focus on silver. And I love that you do that because silver is the benchmark for the financial system. Silver takes out $121, and Babylon, the financial system, begins to crumble. The US
Right.
dollar begins to crumble. Okay.
Right.
And that's what's about to happen here. Okay. So they've been creating money out of thin air. These people, this is the love of money that's written in the Bible, and they love money. They control, enslave humanity. What was the root of what we saw in the Epstein stuff? Money.
Right. Yeah. Bribery, money.
Yeah, it was a root of it. That was a root of everything going on in there. Okay, so let's look at this chart. Last time we spoke, gold dropped down, silver dropped down, and the chart pattern had silver drop, gold and silver drop down, but gold is easier to look. So I'm using gold here because it's more stable than silver. Silver's like that, it's crazy when it shoots up high, it drops down low, so it's a
Yeah.
little more difficult to see. So I'm going to show you the gold chart here and show you how everything in gold is perfect. Okay,
Right.
why
Right.
I say that? Because when we spoke last week, go back, or I think it's 2 weeks ago, we
Two
did a
weeks ago.
podcast,
Yeah, it was
maybe
2 weeks
three,
ago.
2, 3 weeks ago, and we had gold drop down. So that would have been some of the middle of February. And we had gold drop down. I think it might have been even this candlestick right here, this one in the red. And I said, hey, don't worry about it. Everything's fantastic in gold. The floor on gold's already in. That came down on the drop. I believe, I don't know for sure the amount, but I heard through several different people did the research, something about $10 trillion were created out of thin air to take silver from $121 down to the low 70s.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I don't know whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. It was a big number. Okay. Let's
Hmm.
just say it was a very big number because they did not want silver to take out $121. Okay.
Like, yeah,
Because
that
$121, remember this chart we showed here, right?
I
The
remember this.
121 takes you back all the way to 1981 with the Hunt brothers. Remember, I
Hmm.
showed you this chart, like, wow, that's pretty cool. Okay. So when you look at the charts, you got to understand, okay, the middle here, this middle line was Christmas. It
Right.
broke 70. We did this before Christmas. We did a podcast.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember.
There was a
Yeah.
possibility. When I showed you this, like, wow, that's a pretty cool chart. And sure enough, from December, this chart played out perfectly because we did a podcast and silver was in the 70s. Our first podcast we did like in I think early December, something we did.
Yep.
And I said, when it takes out this market here at 71.50, okay, it's going to run like you've never imagined to get to $121. I did say that I believe it could take out 121. And if it did, it's going to blow to 140 pretty quickly. Okay. However, the 121 was the big marker. And you'll see right here, it was the marker at Christmas because from Christmas time, it broke 71.50 and it went in 30 days
Mm-hmm.
to $121. That's a $50 move in 30 days. Let that
Yeah,
sink in,
yeah,
everybody.
it's incredible.
Incredible. Okay. And 121 was the line in the sand for the globalists, and they spent ungodly amounts of money to not let it take out 121. Why? Because Ivan, look, if it takes out 121, it's
It's over.
it's over for them. There's
Yeah.
no roof because after $121 on the chart, there's no more roof anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking two, three, five, $600 silver. I believe we're going to have 600 this year. Okay,
Wow.
why? Because it's biblical. Remember, when you got to look at numbers, I look at it biblically. I don't care what people think. I just look from a biblical perspective. It says in the Bible that blessings are 30, 60, and 100 fold. Okay.
Okay.
So, but before there's blessings paid, there's damages. So, damages, and the key marker here we always want to look at is this number roughly at the $20 range. I've used 20 for a long time because it based out at 20 for quite a long time when it was in this handle.
Right.
So, if you take 20 and you multiply by 7, which is damages, that's $140 silver. Okay. So we haven't seen damages yet, but I believe we're about to see an explosion here this month. It's going to take out 121 and immediately go to 140 minimum, and that will be damages paid.
Right. Right.
That will be damages paid. And then once damages are paid, then we go to blessings, which will be 30, 60, 100 fold. Okay. So you want crazy? I'm going to give you crazy because again, people thought I was crazy when silver was 20 bucks. And I'm telling everybody the thing's going to go break 50. It's going to go to 100 and $200. Okay. And the hundred's already been broken. 3-digit silver happened when everybody thought I was crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so 121 was the resistance, was the roof. It's the marker now you want to watch. When it takes out 121, okay, it's going to be the explosion of a lifetime.
Wow.
Okay. So the marker is 121. And so now let's look at biblical math and blessings. And then we'll go
Okay.
back to the gold chart in a second. But understand that if you take silver and you multiply the base at 20 times 30 fold blessings, that is $600 silver.
Wow. And you think that's
Okay.
going to happen this year?
There's a huge, huge likelihood because Trump is going to reinstate the gold standard when the Federal
Wow.
Reserve, they're going to have the worst day of their life. Okay. So this is a biblical moment that's about to happen. People think this is crazy. Absolutely. That's all fine. However, understand that prophecy has stated that these things are going to happen. And it's going to, you know what the triggering event is?
What?
Everybody get your Bibles out, read Joel 2:31. It's called the great and the terrible day of the Lord.
Okay.
This event's going to happen. It's God's stated this through his prophets, okay? And on that day, remember what happened 9/11? What did they do? They shut down the airports
Mm-hmm.
in the US. On that day, every single airport across the globe is going to be shut down
Wow. That would be crazy.
because this is the marker that's going to shift us from this control system to freedom.
Wow.
So it's going to be the wildest moment in human history. And so after, it's going to explode to, these 200 and eventually 300. And it's just going to be an explosion process we're going to be watching. And the first marker that we want to watch is $600 because it's coming.
W would
Okay.
that event be like a nuclear, like someone
No,
dropping in? No?
No, it's all God. It's God stepping in and changing the course of history. So it's like, you
Wow.
remember what happened? If you go back and read your scriptures, okay, whether you believe or not, the Red Sea miracle happened. Okay. There is a line that's a mile and a half long, a line, okay, not like, no, this is a mile and a half long debris field
Right,
that they
right.
just confirmed and found at the Red Sea. This happened because
Really?
God
No
showed
way.
up. Yeah. Oh yeah. I will send you the link if you want to, post it below this podcast.
Sure.
But they spent a $20 million in gear they had, and they just found un, undeniable proof of a 1.5 mile long, not just wide, long debris field in the Red Sea. And they found the chariots, the golden chariot that Pharaoh was riding. They found it all.
Really? Oh, that's crazy.
So I'm just telling you that was an act of God, and we are about to see an act of God. And I don't care what anybody thinks, because God has spoken it. It will happen. And this is going to be the explosion of a lifetime, where silver rips the roof off 121, goes to historic numbers this year, and that only continues next year.
Wow. Now, what about
Okay.
gold? If silver is going to be ripping off, where does gold go
Yeah, so
to?
you're looking at numbers like 10,000 on gold,
Right.
20,000 on, again, these price targets to me are hard, because silver I can use mathematically from the scripture, but gold is going to underperform silver,
Really?
underperform. Okay.
Okay.
And why?
Okay.
Because in a bull market, Ivan, you can confirm this and look at it and talk to any of the analysts that you have on your show. Okay. The quote is this: in a bull market, silver hands down outperforms gold every single time.
Yeah, and
And
I've
why?
heard
Because
I've heard that plenty of times.
it's about the
Yeah.
ratio, right? So it ratios. So silver ratios. Right now, the ratio, like in 2011, the ratio went from like 70, 80, 90, 100 to 1, and it ratioed to 30 to 1. And
Right,
that's
right,
where it topped out. But the ratio narrowed. Okay. So the ratio is supposed to be 10 to 1. So
right.
so because of the ratio, silver always outperforms gold in a bull market. So you ask about gold again. So gold, when we did this podcast, it dropped down. This was the middle of February. So right here, the middle of February is this red candlestick. That's roughly where we were speaking. And then I said, watch it break it out. And it did. It broke out on February 23rd. It did.
Yeah,
It
it
came
did on
up
February
and
23rd. Right.
yeah, it broke out. And then this past weekend into March, what did it do? Into the first week of March. So this week, you figured the event. But what did I say? I said the last day of February is the high. There it is right there. There's the last day of February. This was in my
Right.
cycle work. And this is like pattern replication. Okay. And then it dropped down on Monday, Tuesday, so it's been fighting. And what happened today? Look at it close where at $5,090.
Right.
If we let me just check the price as we're speaking right now. I'm curious right now as we speak. Yeah, gold is $5,088.
Okay.
Okay, it's right there. So it's sitting on the line.
Wow. And the next
Okay.
breakout is higher.
Okay, so silver's going to turn tomorrow, I believe, Friday,
Turn like
because it's on
higher
support
or
now.
lower?
Yeah, turn up, turn up. Yeah, it's
Oh,
going to turn up. So because it's already on support, so we should see a turn like potentially tomorrow. If it goes a little lower, who cares? Doesn't matter. But we're right at that support line, and then when we begin next week, it's going to be awesome. So next week's going to be a very, very awesome week for silver. Why? Because look at it, it broke out of the ascending triangle. It toys, it breaks out, comes back, and it very typically it always come back and retest it. So this is called a retest. This
right.
is the retest at broke out of 590, came back and retested 590 right
Mm-hmm.
now. Okay, past 3 days. And then it turns and then it takes off vertical. And then you'll see on the chart here, you'll see this right here. Look what it does. It starts to really rock and roll.
Yeah, it starts going higher and higher and higher.
Yeah. And so it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, it's irrelevant, because what's going to happen is a vertical move to the upside on precious metals. And next week's going to be very exciting. And it's going to, so in other words, March is going to be awesome for silver and for gold. So, we live in unprecedented times. Typically, we've seen silver many times and gold react. Silver kind of is, coined a war metal. Okay.
Right.
So it should be accelerating. So that means next week we could see more military conflict. Understand those that are screaming from the rooftops that, that Iran's going to attack us and we're in nuclear war. Okay. That's like ridiculous.
Okay.
Everything militarily going on right now is all going to be use these two words, short lived.
So it's all going to be short-lived.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, very exciting times we live in, but this is specifically about Trump. Well, first off, God intervening, and then Trump fulfilling his promise of the golden age. You know what the golden age
Well,
is?
the golden
A
standard.
monetary system backed
Yeah.
by gold.
Wow. Yeah.
Welcome
No.
to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metals storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's incredible, Bo. It's so exciting having you come down to explain that to us because we get to see it in a different lens. And I really appreciate you coming down and speaking to the silver and gold community. We're recording this as of the 5th and it'll be out tomorrow on the 6th, though. It's going to be exciting times and I really appreciate you coming down. Before you go though, I really want people to connect with you. Where can they find you, Bo?
My website is gold2020forecast.com. You can go to X and you'll see me there with a blue check mark. So that's a good place. I kind of like to post there sometimes because it's kind of like fun and easy. So I
Right.
do that, and that's been kind of doing really well. A lot of people follow me there, and then YouTube is like a great place because all my videos and my me speaking and things I post on YouTube, and that's again my name basically Bolin and Polny Polny, and then Gold 2020 forecast, and you'll see that's the one with like 100 because people try to copy stuff, but it's the one with like 150 or something thousand followers. So
Yeah.
make sure in the right one.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone go follow Bo's work because it's tremendous. Like the charts, the biblical standpoint to it, and the view of it on a biblical side is fantastic. I really want to thank you, Bo, for coming down. As markets develop, as always, you never know well, we do know what's going to happen with what we talked about today. But thank you so much for coming down.
Yeah,
As markets develop,
absolutely.
yeah, I'd love to
Yeah,
have you back
I
on.
give your audience a view of the markets from a different lens. That's
Yeah,
what I do.
yeah, simple and beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bo. I'd love to talk to you soon.